Hello, Midofapa Akwaba. Today, join me and let's cook another Ghanaian favorite dish, bean stew, black-eyed bean stew made with some mackerel. This is yummy. It is served with so many different accompaniments, but today I'm going to serve it with yam, boiled yams. The ingredients for our bean stew is black-eyed beans, some air-fried mackerel, salt, Aftrad Village Kitchen's 10 and 7 spice blend for seasoning, anchovies instead of Kobe to provide the umami flavors, some plum tomatoes, some palm oil. I'm using Zomi palm oil for authentic flavors, white onions, garlic, scotch bonnet, and ginger. You know what? Onion, garlic, ginger, and pepper are things we don't do without in a Ghanaian stew. So let's get cooking. First off, let's start with the beans. Let's soak it in water. Soaking it in water helps it to plump up, to soften up, and to help quicken the cooking process. So we'll leave it in the Instant Pot and let it soak up for about 20 minutes. So next, let's slice up our onions and set it aside. Next thing is to grind our Meko. In Ghanaian cooking, Meko forms the basis of our stews. We cannot do without it. Ginger, garlic, and pepper is something that goes into our stew. I've talked a lot about this in another video called My Ghana Trial +1. I will link it here for you to watch that video and get to know more about our Ghanaian ingredients. So the next thing was to heat up the oil and start cooking our bean stew. So I added in the onions followed by the anchovies. What we want to see happen here is for the onions to caramelize and all the anchovies to melt before adding in the Meko. So Meko, I grounded my Meko in the asanka because it just helps to release all the oils, and it just makes it flavorful. It's a step that I will really recommend when you are after authentic Ghanaian flavors. That's how we did it traditionally, all right? After about 3 minutes of frying, it's time to add in the spices, the 7 spice blend and the 10 spice blend. Once this hit the pot, you can just smell it. It's good to fry your dry spices at this time. It helps to release all the oils in the spices, and the aroma that just comes out is fantastic. So for another minute or two after frying, let's add in the plum tomatoes. So if you're not using plum tomatoes, you better be using fresh vine tomatoes to give you those authentic Ghanaian flavors. If you don't have the fresh version, I recommend using plum tomatoes. Plum tomatoes are much more flavorful and tastier than chopped tomatoes. So yeah, one tip here for you: use plum tomatoes. Better use fresh vine tomatoes. So now let's get on with our beans. Let's check how it has plumped up and softened up a bit. Let's wash it, and then it is now time to get it cooking. So to cook the beans, we'll add quite a bit of water because beans does need quite a bit of water to cook it. I'm also using my Instant Pot, which really helps it to cook really fast, and remember, soaking it has also made it nice and soft and plump, so it cooks really quickly. So this took about 13 minutes or 12 minutes to cook. Now remember my frozen home grilled mackerel, which I use my air fryer to make. I just warmed it up in the air fryer to make it nice and soft and to be able to debone it. I love deboning my mackerel, or when I'm using fish, because I've got kids and I don't want them to choke on any bones, so I really do break it up, but it is a personal choice. So my dear, if you're still here, come on, please give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. Now let's check on this tomato stew, which is cooking nicely. Remember, I used plum tomato, so it's quite chunky. So as I check on it and it's cooking, I break it up with my ladle to help it soften up and to, you can barely tell that you used plum tomatoes. It had stewed beautifully, but I covered it to give it some few more minutes. So now let's check on the beans. This has cooked beautifully. Now I like to mash in about 1/3 of the beans. It helps to thicken up the stew and to make it, sticky. I love it that way, to have that kind of sticky, mushy bean stew. So yeah, it is my tip and it is my preference. Let's now check on this tomato stew, which is frying beautifully. It has fried nicely and it's just time to add in the salt to taste. Look at this salt. It has to be tasty at this point, otherwise your bean stew will not be tasty and flavorful. So once that it was nice, the aroma was just good. It is nice, you just add in the beans and you're almost done. So my tip here with the beans is to add in enough beans to balance the tomato stew. Usually you don't want too much stew in the beans, you want just enough to bind everything together. How thick the stew is depends on how much beans you add to it, and this is also influenced by what you are going to serve the stew with. So for me, today I'm going to serve it with yams. I want the bean stew really nice and thick. So yes, this is a thick bean stew. So our final stage is to add in the deboned mackerel and to stir it so everything is well incorporated, and then to cover it and let it simmer for the flavors to infuse and to marry together. The smell, the aroma is just it was just ready. Proper Ghanaian authentic bean stew, ready to serve with your boiled yam, boiled plantain, even gari, although I do not like the ones for gari to be this thick, but it is equally good for gari. This stew is ready. Please bring your plate and let's eat. Madam Papa, this is Ghanaian beans stew. Thank you for sitting here and cooking with me. If you're still here, please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video with your friends and family. Call them or call them. Let's join this family and let's be cooking some good Ghanaian traditional foods. There's more coming your way, and even more, and some more. And some more. So thank you for taking your time to cook with me today. I am just so glad and very appreciative of that. Join me in my next video next Sunday and we'll cook another delicious meal. I've also linked other videos about the Meko and how to grill your own mackerel at home. This is an oven grilled one, but I'll be bringing you the air fryer version very soon. So stay tuned, subscribe, let's connect, and see you next Sunday.